Trauma-informed training should be a requirement for all public education employees to help assist children that are struggling with issues derived from child trauma exposure in the home. What is childhood trauma, you may ask? According to the National Institute of Mental Health, childhood trauma is defined as the experience of an event by a child who has been in emotional pain or distressful, which often results in lasting mental and physical effects. My policy proposal is that the U.S. government will provide mandatory training for educators while obtaining their college degree to be able to understand and assist children in the classroom and school setting to recognize and address individual needs resulting from trauma exposure. This trauma-informed training should be included in the student's tuition. Mental health often gets put on the back burner. And if this policy was put in place, teachers would be more aware and prepared to assist students to display trauma-motivated behaviors in the classroom. Many kids do not have the necessary tools or have received counseling or taught coping skills throughout their lifetime. More than 2/3 of children reported at least one traumatizing event by the age of 16. Potentially traumatic events include psychological, physical, or sexual abuse. If educators were specifically trained to recognize trauma-exposed behaviors, children would be more successful and understood throughout their education. Social Forces Volume 95 states, prior research has documented a strong correlation between completed education and adults' mental health. Researchers often describe this relationship using casual language. Higher levels of education are thought to enhance people's lives, skills, and empower better coping mechanisms, all of which lead to better mental health. Mental health awareness in children is extremely vital to prevent barriers from disrupting a child's education. Educators would then be able to recognize concerning behaviors and make informed decisions based on the behavior and determine early intervention and preventative measures to maintain a definite level of care and instruction for specific behaviors. This policy would be set forth and helpful for so many students. Educators would have the necessary tools to provide high quality education to every student and individualized treatment options for all students who are trauma exposed and struggling academically and emotionally. Nadine Burke-Harris is a TED Talk expert who explains the effect of childhood trauma. In the mid-90s, the CDC and Kaiser discovered the risk for 7 out of 10 leading causes of death in the United States. In high doses, it affects brain development, hormonal development, and the immune system. And it even affects the way our DNA is read and transcribed. In very high doses, people who are exposed have triple the lifetime risk of heart disease and lung cancer, and a 20-year difference in life expectancy. And yet doctors are not trained in routine screening or treatment for trauma. The exposure is not a pesticide or a poisonous chemical. It is childhood trauma. Do we want our children and future generations to reap the repercussions of mental health continuously being left on the back burner? Or do we want our children to learn how to cope and live successful lives? Trauma and abuse can literally take years off of a person's life. It's time mental health is brought to light and treated soon as we are able to see the signs. Our children and future generations will be healthier, and more effort needs to be set forth and put this policy in place. Thank you all for listening.